never seen such desolation. I think we drove for a mile and there wasn't a building hardly standing.
Nobody knew what was going on. They called the situation fluid, but fluid means that nobody knew anything.
It was different. If I had done something else, I don't know what I would have done.
We're talking today with Eugene Welch of Zeeland, Michigan, and the interviewer is James Smither of the Grand Valley State University Veterans History Project. Okay, Gene, can you start us off with some background on yourself? To begin with, where and when were you born?
I was born in June of 1942 on a small farm in western Pennsylvania.
Now, did you grow up there or did you move around?
Grew up there, graduated from high school in a small steel town named Midland, Pennsylvania, right across the river from the original nuclear generating plant, the first one the United States had.
All right. Now, what did your family do for a living when you were growing up?
Farming. My father was a welder. My mother was what they said then was a housewife. And now should be still.
Of course, if you had a farm, then she had a lot of other stuff to do too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
yeah, we had a farm, and when I was 9 or 10, I was working on the farm just like the rest of the kids, the family.
Okay. And when did you finish high school?
June 5th, 1960.
Okay. And then what did you do once you graduated?
Looked for a job, but I could kind of read the writing on the wall that we were going into country was going into a bit of a recession at that time, and it didn't look like I was going to find anything worth having there. So in August of 60, I went ahead and joined the Navy.
Okay. Now, how did you pick the Navy?
My father was in the Navy, and he seemed to think that it was, and I do too, that it was a better service for me because of I had some metalworking background, although mostly in school, but with him also on the farm, and he thought that I would do better if I went in the Navy, got a school that in the metalworking area, and go from there.
Okay. So basically get some practical training or whatever while you're in the Navy and have a better chance of finding a job on the other end.
Right. That was the idea. Didn't work out that way, but that's okay.
Okay. All right. So you go in 1960. Where do you go for basic training?
Basic training was over in Great Lakes Training Center, just north of Chicago.
Right. Was that pretty much the only option, or were there other places they sent people in those days?
San Diego had a basic training facility, much larger, but I think in order to save money in case you don't work out, if you flunk out of basic training, it's closer for the government to send you on home than it is.
Certainly, pretty much everybody from the Midwest went through Great Lakes.
Right.
You're from a little bit farther east, but they're still sending you there and not to the East Coast or something like that.
There was no basic training facility for the Navy on the East Coast except for the women. The Waves had a
and I guess the
training
officers.
And the officers, yeah.
All right.
I didn't qualify.
Okay, so you go to Great Lakes. Now, how did they get you out there?
Train.
Okay.
Yeah, we just went from Pittsburgh to Great Lakes Training Center on a train.
Okay. And what kind of reception do you get when you arrive?
At basic training? Yeah. It really wasn't bad. I mean, it's not like Marine Corps or some in the Army. You see a lot of these guys yelling at you, the sergeant or NCOs are yelling at you. That wasn't the case. They told us what to do and where to go, and it was just kind of a flurry of activity the first couple days, getting your clothes and getting your bunk and getting your, acquainted with the area so that you know where to go on a day-to-day basis.
Okay. Did they give you a physical there, or did you have one
earlier?
Oh, yeah,
complete physical.
Okay. When people got physicals, were they weeding out personnel at that point? Were there some men who couldn't pass it, or?
Yeah, and that was another reason to have the base, or the people here on the eastern side of the United States is a lot of people had flat feet, bad teeth, things like that the government assumed that it would cost them too much to fix them Just go ahead and send them back home and let them fend for themselves, more or less.
Okay. Now, the men you went to boot camp with, were most of these guys volunteers like yourself, or were there some draftees in the mix?
There were no draftees that I went in. The Army was the only place that drafted at that time.
Right.
I don't know whether that's the case now or not, but
No. Well, no one drafts right
nobody
now.
drafts now. But I mean,
Yeah.
since then. But the Army was the only, and that wasn't by the number that happened later on.
Right. Okay. So you're going there, and as far as you could tell, were the other guys there pretty much for the same reason you were? It was sort of.
Well, most of them were there either to get some training in a job, or to get away from family. Some of them just came from such a poor area, like in West Virginia and Kentucky and down in there, that they figured they could better themselves by going into the Navy. Most of them did, as far as I know.
All right. Now, what was the kind of day-to-day training regimen like?
Just a lot of getting up early and marching, learning how to use a rifle, which I already knew, being on a farm. Already knew how to use a rifle and a shotgun. A lot of paper, a lot of book-type learning, Universal Code of Military Justice, things like that. Went through quite a bit of that in school.
Did you have to learn a lot of just terminology, what they called things in the Navy?
Yeah, but that really didn't happen until later in boot camp. That was near the end of boot camp. We learned they had a mock-up of a ship there, and you learned the decks and how to get from point A to point B on a ship.
All right. Was there a lot of emphasis on discipline?
Not a whole lot, which surprised me, because it's service. It's more, at least during my time, it was more just learning what you need to do.
Okay.
And
So you didn't have drill instructors who were making you clean things with toothbrushes or other stuff?
not really. I mean, we had to keep up our own barracks, et cetera, but keep up our own clothes. But it wasn't like, it wasn't done in a disciplinary type atmosphere.
What sorts of people did you have training you?
I'm sorry?
What sorts of people did you have training you?
What do you mean, what sorts
Well,
of
I mean,
people?
were they like sort of older petty officers or guys just a little older than you? Or?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, most of them were senior than me, obviously, in the Navy, but they were, when you say older, I was 18 when I joined, and they were probably 20, 21. They'd been in 2 or 3 years, 4 years.
Okay. So it's not like, again, stuff in the movies where these 40-year-old guys are marching them around.
Or screaming at you and all that. No,
Okay.
no. That wasn't my experience.
Now, while you're in boot camp, do you ever actually go on a ship of any kind?
No, just a mock-up there, because there are no ships. I mean, there's ships, but no Navy ships in
All right.
the Great Lakes.
Okay. Now, how long does the basic training last?
It was 9 weeks.
Okay. And what do they do with you after those 9 weeks?
Well, during that period of time, you make a decision as to what you want to do. Well, I had already decided that I wanted to go to a welding school in San Diego. I knew it was there, and I wanted to go. They were pretty good about that. I don't know whether they were short on welders or what at that time, but where do you want to go? You have 2 choices, or you don't have 2 choices. You can make 2 choices. Excuse me. And then they'll send you where they want to.
Right.
Obviously, some people didn't get even their 15th choice. They got sent where the Navy wanted them. But that was based on their, number one, their background and their training ability, how well they trained.
Right.
And that was, I went directly to San Diego.
Now, did they fly you out there? Or was it
Nope, another train.
Another train. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a nice trip, though.
Yeah, how long did it take?
4 days, I think it was. 3.5, 4 days.
Okay.
Very few stops. I remember that part. But
Okay. So you get out there then, and how would you describe the base of the facility then that you're training at in San Diego?
it was located on a hill It was up on, I remember the name of the road or street. It was Rosecrans Boulevard in, can't remember the name of the city, but it wasn't San Diego proper. It was one of the outskirts of San Diego.
Right.
And it was a nice, clean town. The base was nice and clean. There was no, no old airplanes or tanks or anything like that sitting around. It was very nice area.
Now, what kinds of people, was this just a training base there, or was it? did it
It's
have-
it's a schooling for people that are taking mechanical type schooling.
Okay. So you have what are essentially machine shops or things like that to work
Right.
in. And
Yeah, machine shops, weld shops, things like that.
now, how was life at the school different from boot camp?
Well, I got there, and this is in November when I got there. I think it was, November 3rd. No, November the 11th. Got there on November 11th, 1960. And, well, you know what November's like here, and of course in western Pennsylvania it's not any better. But I get there, and people's laying out sunbathing. I thought, whoa, I think I'm in heaven. So that's what it was nice. It was really, for me, a little farm boy, first time in a big city, except for Pittsburgh. It was okay.
And did this have sort of a regular schedule? So you're in
Yeah, it was
a-
just like an 8 to 5 schedule.
Yeah.
No particular. I mean, we still had to keep up, similar to boot camp, keep up our own clothes and keep up our own area in our barracks, but nothing that I had to strain to do.
Right. Now, what actual training did you get?
I trained to be a welder, metalsmith, tinsmith, whatever you want to call it. I did a lot of welding. I did a lot of sheet metal work. And since then, I mean, for the remainder of my career in the Navy, all of 3 years, 10 months, and 25 days, I did a lot of just metal work. Just making duct work for like air conditioning and the like on the ships, which we didn't have very much of at that time. Welding high pressure steam lines from the boilers, welding on the outside of the ship. We had a emergency on, we can get to that a little later. Mainly it was just metal work.
Okay. And was this all pretty easy for you to pick up?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I didn't have any problem with it at all.
All right. Did you learn anything about the guys you were training alongside? Like where they were from or what sort of background they had?
Yeah, I'm kind of nosy that way. I like to find out where people's from, or like to try to guess where they're from by their accent. Different areas of the country have different accents, so you like to try to guess where they're from, and about 30% of the time I was totally wrong, but doesn't make any difference.
Do you remember some of the places they came from?
We had them from all over the United States. We had them from New Mexico. We had them from Washington State. We had them from the South, Mississippi, Alabama. We had quite a few from the South. We had people from Jersey, New York, New England. They were from all over the place.
And were they pretty much all white, or were they mixed?
There was mix. There's definitely a mix. Mostly black and white. I don't know why you'd ask that question, because is that a politically correct question? Or?
No, actually, it's really one of finding out, because the military transitions over an extended period from the 40s really into the 60s.
Well,
in
that
terms
was
of
in
integration
47 and 48 when
Yeah.
they started integrating.
Yeah, when they start.
Right.
But different areas
This is
and
13
branches-
years later.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. But it varies a lot depending on where you are and what kind of activity you're in and
Yeah.
so forth. And so really it's just a question of just finding out, well, what was the mix?
We had probably, in boot camp, we probably had about 10% black. In the training school, there was probably, I'm just remembering some of the groups that we were in, probably about 7 or 8% black. And the remainder were white. There was a few, I'm not going to say white, because there was a lot of Italians and there was a few Mexicans and a few of the different European, like Greece, Greek, and things like that there. But their ancestry was Greek. They were Americans.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, in the way things get categorized or boxed or whatever, those will
Yeah, that's, I'm not
those
real,
kind of white aside from the Hispanic. But
I'm not
basically,
real
yeah.
comfortable with categorizing or, you know, we're all supposed to be Americans.
And was that really the attitude of the people that in the
Nobody
training
thought
there?
of it then like we do now.
Right.
Nobody at all thought of it then. We were all Americans. And that's probably why, well, we're in the situation we're in now.
All right. So, how long does the training last?
That was a
in San Diego?
12-week stint in there.
Okay. Now, from there, do you get assigned to a unit, or do you go home first?
Well,
or?
You had a choice. You could either go home for, you know, a period of time. But I'd already been home for 2 weeks after the boot camp, after the basic training, and decided to not come home because, you know, 12 weeks from November 11th, you're just entering February. There's no way that I was going to go home. I mean, the sun was shining.
Right.
It was a high of 68, 70 degrees. You know, what do you want? It's California.
Now, and then at that point, do they just assign you someplace, or do they ask
No,
you where you want to go?
no, they ask you if you want a certain ship. Well, in the meantime, I had met a girl, and her dad was a chief on the Klondike, on the USS Klondike, a repair ship. So they asked me if I wanted to, you know, where I wanted to go. I said, I want to go on the Klondike. And why the Klondike? I said, well, you just spent 12 weeks training me how to be a welder and a sheet metal worker. I said, I might as well go onto a repair ship where I can put it to good use, put the training to good use. And, oh, okay. And a couple weeks later, I get orders for the Klondike.
Now, where was the Klondike at the time you joined?
San Diego.
Okay, I was in San Diego
Yeah.
at that point. All right. Now, can you physically describe the ship a little bit about how big is it? How is it laid out?
Oh, my goodness. It's probably 800 feet long, probably about 150 feet wide, was. It had a deep draft because there was a lot of tools on there, machine shop, welding shops, carpenter shop. We had a full carpenter shop on there with state-of-the-art tools. Of course, living quarters. I don't know, it's kind of hard to describe.
Well, okay, relative to some of the other, like the warships, for example, you're about the same size as, you know, you're bigger.
Probably about the same size as a cruiser.
Yeah.
In length, but not in breadth, because we're quite a bit wider.
Yeah. So a pretty substantial ship in any case.
Oh yeah,
All
no
right.
doubt about it.
You have a sense about how many men were in the crew?
We had about 600.
Okay.
That included the shop people. That was not just the crew to run the ship.
Right. Yeah, the complement of the ship.
Right.
That's be a better word.
Yeah.
Okay. How long did you stay in San Diego before you went out?
Well, that was a surprise that I got when I got on ship, because I assumed that because it's a repair ship, it's going to be in port for a while doing some repairs.
Yeah.
Wrong. I got there, and 2 months later, we were headed for what we called Westpac at the time, Western Pacific. And we left, like I say, about 2 months later, 2.5 months maybe. Excuse me. And we headed for Japan
All right.
via.
Was this your first time really at sea?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I'd been on Lake Erie and you know, big lakes, but not out in the ocean like that.
Were there many new crewmen on the ship, or just a few of you?
I don't really remember. I would say that 10% were new.
Okay.
Because people get transferred.
Right. Now, were there a lot of guys on the ship who clearly were lifers or had been there a long time?
Oh, sure. Oh, sure. Not necessarily on that ship, but they were
Yeah.
Navy lifers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Now, what was your original assignment once you were on board the ship?
Once I got there, well, I went directly into the welding shop,
Okay.
into the metal shop, because was what my training was, and spent a lot of time. We did some minor repairs on other ships while we were there at San Diego.
Mhm.
And again, it was an 8 to 5 job. The only thing about it was, the only difference was that every fourth day on a Klondike, we had a 24-hour duty. And that was just to kind of more or less keep an eye on the ship, as well as do any work that may be a rush type job.
Okay. Now, while you were in port, did you live on board ship?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. For a
Now-
while.
Okay. And were there sort of some of the more senior crew and so forth? Could they be off the ship?
Most of them were off ship, but they had the same 4-day
Right.
schedule that we had.
All right. Now, did you stop anywhere on the way to Japan?
We stopped in Honolulu. It's nice.
Did you get off the ship?
Yeah, we were there for 4 or 5 days, refueling, restocking.
Mhm.
We were there, I'm going to say 5 days max.
So how long did the trip take total from San Diego out to Japan?
Oh my goodness. It was over 3 weeks,
Okay.
not including the stopping away.
It's not a fast ship.
No, 22 knots is max. I mean, 25 miles an hour is it.
Okay. And then where did you stop then in Japan?
Our first stop was in Sasebo, and
Was there a fairly substantial American naval facility there? Or?
yeah, that was as far as I recall, that was at that time the largest naval facility, American naval facility in Japan.
Mhm.
We were about 30, 40 miles from Hiroshima, and so it was a little bit touchy, but not too bad. Not too bad. People had pretty well accepted us by that time.
Okay. How long were you in Sasebo then?
We were there for a couple months,
Okay.
2 months, maybe a little more.
And did you get to go look around at
Oh,
all?
sure.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
So-
we had 3 days, 3 evenings off every day, or every 3 and then 1, and 3 and 1 was our, not tour, but our time that we could spend 3.5 days, or 3 nights,
Mhm.
out looking to see. We had a curfew. Most people could get a variance from that curfew and stay overnight if they had a place.
Mhm.
They had to give an address where they were going to be for the night.
Right.
Most people gave the address of the local pub. We had a lot of interaction with the natives, for lack of a better.
Now, when you left the base, did you stay in uniform?
Yeah, we had to stay in uniform at that time. You had to get special permission to be able to wear civilian clothes there.
All right. And in general, you said on the whole, the Japanese people were fairly friendly.
They were accepting us.
Okay.
They were not necessarily friendly. I mean, unless you had enough money.
Yeah.
If you had enough money, they were real friendly. But yeah, for the most part, they accepted us. But
All right.
You-
Now, did you have much business in Sasebo by way of actually repairing things?
oh yeah, we actually had a small, what they call a water tender, and what it was a boat it was a large boat that would carry water to any ships that had to anchor
Mhm.
away from port, and they would carry fresh water to them and restock their tanks of fresh water. It got hit by a tug, really screwed it up good. So we spent about a month repairing that thing. I'm talking about night and day, 24-hour rotating shifts, 12 hours a day. It was 12 hours a day. And welding for 12 hours a day, it's not a piece of cake.
No.
But Yeah, we had quite a few small jobs and a couple of majors.
Okay. Now, did you work in sort of specific teams or groups or whatever, or shifts, or how did they organize you?
Are you talking about for the larger jobs, or are you talking about for just day to day?
Well, both, I guess.
Well, day to day, it was the same crew.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people that we all had certain things we had to do. You know, make ductwork or
Mm-hmm.
build something for someone, or it wasn't any particular job. I mean,
Okay.
whatever came up, you just did it.
Okay. But I mean, was there sort of a specific? And then when you were doing a larger job, now do they put you in teams, or how do they organize?
Well,
that?
yeah, usually if it's just like any other large job, you got a certain group knows how to do a certain thing. You put them in that area and get it done, and that's we had. It wasn't just our ship. We had some people from shore that was doing the work on that water tender, and it took a lot of welders to put that thing back together. It was a mess.
Now, did you put that in dry dock or something, or was there not a dry dock facility?
It had to be in dry dock,
Okay.
but our ship got the contract to do the job. They used to, at that time, the repair ships would vie for a contract, and it worked.
Okay.
You know, because we got that nice job. But like I say, it was 12 hours a day,
Right.
7 days a week until we got it complete.
Okay. So then you're in Sasebo for a couple of months, and a certain chunk of that time is spent fixing the water tender.
Right.
Now you get to go out to sea again after that.
Oh yeah.
Where do you
Yeah.
go next?
From there, excuse me, we went to Hong Kong for a week. Rest and relaxation, party time. And then from Hong Kong, we went to, actually, while in Hong Kong, we didn't do any work to speak of.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we still had the 3 days off and 1 day on where we had to stay. We couldn't leave the ship.
Mm-hmm.
But I had the opportunity to go into Kowloon, the island, the mainland,
Mainland, yeah.
of China, we weren't supposed to, but that was the only time that they told us we could wear civilian clothes. We were not to wear our uniform, which was okay.
Mhm.
You know, it didn't bother us. We all had some civilian clothes with us, and got to see the Great Wall and got to see quite a bit of.
Well, the Great Wall would be like way up in North China.
Yeah, you're right. What am I thinking of? We didn't see that.
Was Hong Kong a friendlier place than Japan was, or was it pretty
It's
much
about
the same?
the
They kind of
Pretty much
like
the
your
same.
money and.
That's about it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. If you had enough money, you were a good person.
Mhm.
But they weren't. There were certain areas you weren't supposed to go. Kowloon was one of them.
Mhm.
We weren't supposed to go, but we did anyway. Everybody did, just to say that they were there.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was nice. It was big. That was another big city that built against the side of a hill, huge hill.
All right. So you spent about a week there, and then you move on again. And,
Well, we went to the Philippines after that.
Okay. Now, where did you stop in the Philippines?
In Subic Bay,
Okay.
and we were there for a couple more months.
All right. Now, while you were in Subic Bay, did you stay on the base, or would you go
No,
off the
I
base
stayed
into
on shore.
town? And
Oh, we'd go off base, yeah, go into town, but it was I'd say there were 10 houses and 45 bars.
Mhm.
I mean, that was about what it was in Subic Bay. There was a lot of trouble there.
Mhm.
Come election time, we got there during election time in Subic Bay, and we could not leave the base for, I don't know, it was 3 or 4 days during the election. I don't remember exactly how
Mhm.
long it was, but it was quite a while. And, we just did more repairs to various ships and building specialty items for certain ships.
And on the base itself, did they have fairly substantial facilities for entertainment?
They had
or other
everything we
things?
needed there. It had housing also, you know, for the people that were stationed there permanently or semi-permanently. They had, you know, an NCO club as well as an officers club and all that. It was, you know, you had entertainment, you had everything you needed really.
Mm-hmm.
But who wants to stay on base, you know?
Yep.
I mean, you've got to go out and see the natives.
Well, did they give you any warnings about going out and seeing natives?
Definitely.
What could you do and not do and so forth?
Yeah, they warned us against doing certain things. They didn't say don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
They just said this could happen if you do this, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really not an order to not do something or not go somewhere. It was a suggestion more than an order.
Mm-hmm.
So I took most of the suggestions seriously. But
Now, were there guys from your crew who got themselves in trouble while you were there?
in Subic,
Yeah.
yeah, there was quite a few of them sent home because of fights and things like that. But, you know, testosterone
Mm-hmm.
erupts once in a while, and there was a lot of fights.
All right. Now, in general, if you're picking between being based at Subic or being based at Sasebo, which one would you take?
Oh, you mean if I had a long-term
Yeah,
choice?
yeah.
I'd rather go to Sasebo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the people there, the natives there are a lot more, they're not so aggressive. Filipinos are good people, don't get me wrong,
Mm-hmm.
but they can be a little bit hard to live with at times, especially the women.
All right. Okay, so you're then at Subic. Then after Subic, where do you go next?
Well, then we came back to the United States.
Okay.
Came back to San Diego. Our total time over there was about 6 months.
Okay.
I mean, from the time we left San Diego till the time we got back.
All right. So we're now somewhere in '61.
Yeah. Excuse me. Well, no, it was actually,
62 now.
it would have been early 62.
Okay. And then how long do you stay in San Diego this time?
Well, I don't know how long the ship stayed there because it wasn't too long after we came back. I got a job off ship,
Okay.
part-time job as a dishwasher in a restaurant. And I went from dishwasher to bartender. And from bartender to, I was tending bar. I was making pretty good money, so I decided to get an apartment in Linda Vista. And had a nice 2-bedroom apartment there. And 3 of the barmaids that worked at the same place, they wanted to move into an apartment with somebody that could pay for the apartment. So I agreed to let them move in.
Okay.
Big mistake. We were there, well, I lived there probably for a couple months before they moved in with me. And about a month after that, we got raided and I got arrested for running a house of ill repute, which I wasn't. But it didn't make any difference to the cops.
Your living arrangements were a little bit too modern
They
for
were,
their tastes.
Yes. We were in a 3rd floor apartment with 3 women and me.
Mm-hmm.
And that just didn't go over too good with somebody. So I got arrested, they got arrested. And 2 days later, I'm back on the ship. And about 2 weeks later, I get transfer papers to the Chemung in the Chemung is a oiler
Mm-hmm.
in Long Beach, California.
All right. Now, just how was it that you were able to go and hold a civilian job while you're still officially full-time in the Navy?
That was a night job. That was part-time.
Okay. Okay. So you had what amounted to regular shift work or whatever, and as
Right.
long as the bar was okay with you having 1 day out of 4 when you couldn't be
Correct.
there, then you
Yeah,
could do
they
that.
didn't have a
Okay.
problem with it.
Now, was that a common thing for people to do at that
Yeah.
point? Okay.
Yeah, it was, well, it was not terribly common, but a lot of people did it. I'd say
Alright.
10% or so did it. But
Was bartending money a lot better than seaman money?
not really, because I was, it wasn't that many hours. I couldn't work beyond
Yeah.
midnight, things like that. So I did make good money, but it wasn't because of the wages of being a bartender. It was because I had a good line, and I guess, and got tipped well. So that's where the money came in.
Okay. So now they've moved you over now to the oiler. And does the oiler, how long then before the oiler ships out?
Oh, I think 2 or 3 weeks
Okay.
max. And we were headed again back to Japan.
Okay. Now, is life on board the oiler different from life on board the Klondike?
Totally different. It's a different atmosphere because of the time spent at sea. An oiler spends a lot more time at sea because your primary job is to refuel ships that are out in the ocean. And what we did as welders and damage control people was secondary to taking care of the other ships. We were not only supplying oil, but we were supplying supplies, general supplies, food and stuff. So we went back to Japan, but we filled up in San Pedro with oil and aviation gasoline and jet fuel, and headed out, and we refueled ships on the way over to Japan. Most of that was practice for, there's a lot of training. There's constant training, constant doing things that you may have to do during wartime.
Okay. Now, while refueling was going on, I mean, that's not anything you were directly part of, or did
Yes.
you have?
Well, yeah, because I was considered part of the mechanical part of the ship. I mean, I wasn't just a welder when I got on the Chemung, like I was on the Klondike. I had to learn damage control in case we got, a leak or something, and had to learn how to use the pumps, run the pumps that pump the oil from point A to point B. The other ships, everything like that. Keep up all the equipment that was involved in that process. Interesting process.
Okay. Were you busier on the oiler than you were on the Klondike, or?
No, not really. We had on the Klondike, we had a lot of repair work to do.
Right.
There was always something. There was always work orders coming in. On the oiler, we were busier with what was not in my job description. Of course, they don't care about job descriptions, but there was a lot more to do that was not involved with your normal job.
Okay. So you spent, now this time you go out to Japan, but you wouldn't stay as long as you do.
Oh, no. We never spent more than 4 or 5 days in port, except in San Diego. That's our home port.
And then having stopped off at Japan, then where do you go from there?
We went from Japan, we went to exactly when, the timeline is kind of fuzzy. I mean, it's only, 40-some years ago, almost 50.
50, yeah.
God, it's hard to believe. We went to Kaohsiung, Taiwan. We were only there a couple of 3 days. Filled up with oil. At that time, the government, the U.S. had a contract with Taiwan to buy oil from them. And again, jet fuel and aviation gasoline. And I believe it was from there we went over to off the coast of Vietnam.
All right. So when did you arrive, do you think, off the Vietnamese coast? So still 62?
It would have been late 62. I'm going to say, I'm going to say October or November.
Okay. Now, did you have much of a sense of why you were off the coast of Vietnam at the time?
Well, we knew when we left the United States that there was advisors in Vietnam Excuse me. And we knew that there was supposed to be 25,000 of U.S. troops, not necessarily troops, but advisors. They
Right.
were supposed to be training the South Vietnamese how to take care of themselves. And when we knew that there were ships in the off the coast, and that we would have to take care of them, I mean, refuel them, give them some supplies, and that whatever they ordered, they got. We knew that there was gasoline. If you remember that water tender I was telling you about that we repaired on the Klondike, well, they had small boats similar to that carried gasoline and jet fuel for the helicopters to the shore of Vietnam. And so we were carrying 75,000 gallons plus of aviation gasoline, which is like 120 octane, really powerful stuff, plus jet fuel, which is similar to diesel. And so we were supplying those little boats with the gasoline they needed and the jet fuel. And that was our main purpose, but when we were over there, when we were off the coast, we were trying to refuel these little boats, and we were getting not shot at with little guns, but there were some shells that came out and came very near us. So we just unhooked and left, unhooked from the little boats and left.
Right. Now, you're off the coast of South Vietnam at this point, right? Okay.
Right.
But there's somebody on shore.
Well, we were near the DMZ.
Okay.
I don't know how close to DMZ we were. And we weren't that close to shore. We could see the shoreline, but we couldn't.
But still, if you're talking about a more substantial piece of artillery, then
Right.
probably that has to be based someplace where it's relatively secure. So
Right.
if you're up near the DMZ, yeah, that can be quite possible.
Yeah.
And you're close inshore. You're not like aircraft carriers that would be a lot farther out.
Well, there was aircraft carriers pretty close. I mean, they were close to us.
And when they were near you, were aircraft flying off them regularly, or?
I don't recall. I really don't.
Okay.
I don't remember seeing any, so I'm going to say there was not. At least
All right.
not at the time we were there. We weren't there for very long.
Okay.
We didn't want to stick around and let one of those shells get into the 75,000 gallons of 120 proof gasoline.
Now, did you just back off some distance, or did you?
Yeah, we left there and went further out, and the carriers came and picked up the avgas from us further out, and then if any of the smaller boats needed refueling for the choppers, then they would come out or the carrier would take it back to them.
Okay.
More protection, because all we had was 2 3-inch guns. We didn't have any protection.
Yeah, and you're not armored or anything like that.
Not really.
In any sense. So.
No.
Yeah. All right. So how long were you on that station, do you think?
On what?
Off the coast of Vietnam.
2 days max.
Oh, okay. So you're just there
Yeah.
briefly and
Yeah,
in and out.
right.
And then from there, do you go back to Japan, or?
Yeah, we went back to Kaohsiung and refilled our ship, and then went back to Japan, or went to the Philippines. And we were there Subic for about 2 weeks again. Not much longer, just long enough to get a little bit of rest. Second trip to Hong Kong. After that, we went to Hong Kong first, and then they had a bunch of women there. I mean, a whole bunch of women there, and they painted the whole ship in Hong Kong, inside and out, top to bottom, with rags, bare hands and rags. All we had to do was supply the paint, and they did all the work.
Okay, yeah, I've heard of them.
Yeah.
So,
I can't remember the name, Mary Sue or something like
but
that.
there was a woman who ran this operation and had this whole
Yeah.
crew out there.
They had a contract with the Navy to just do everything, the whole ship. And it looked good after they were done. They did a better job than us. But yeah, it was, and then we went to we got orders to go to South China Sea and to refuel Australian ships.
Mm-hmm.
And we got there, and it was rough. I mean, that was roughest seas I'd ever seen. And we would, an oiler, when it's full, it's only about, the main deck is only about this far, only about 2.5 feet above the water.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where all our equipment was to refuel the ships. So we would go down there, and you get another ship alongside, and 2 wakes coming in between 2 ships.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of water.
Yeah.
Fortunately, it was warm, and so we tied ourselves with a rope to one of the stanchions that was there, and on the what they called the well deck is what they called it, because it was kind of the main deck,
Mm-hmm.
where all the tanks were right below us.
Right.
And my rope was a little long, but I didn't think anything of it. All this water coming across, they were soaked. We refueled for about 32 hours straight, and just wet all the time.
And while you were doing this, when you have waves going across
Mhm.
the deck, do you lose your footing in that?
All the time.
Okay.
I actually got washed overboard.
So your rope was a little too long.
Yeah, the rope was too long. And
But I guess it did its job because you're still here.
Yeah. Yeah, I got back on.
Now, were you doing a lot of sort of pitching and rolling? Were there high seas as well?
Well, yeah.
Okay.
But see, you got to figure that a tanker is full of liquid,
Mm-hmm.
so it has a real deep draft.
Yeah. So you probably don't rock as
Not
much
as much as the
ship.
smaller ships that were alongside.
Mhm.
I mean, they were, it's coming in. Let's say this is us, and these are the little ships, and they're coming in like this, coming real close to us.
Mhm.
Many times within 100 feet.
Okay. But not so close that they'd collide or.
Well,
rub
we
up against
didn't.
each other.
It
Yeah.
doesn't mean they wouldn't. It just we didn't. We were fortunate.
Okay. And then is this pretty far along in your tour, or have you?
Yeah, I'm getting near the end of our tour.
Okay. Are there kind of particular incidents or things that happened on either of these tours that kind of stand out really in your memory, one way or another? Either dramatic things or silly ones, or.
No, we lost a couple of, we didn't lose him. We had a cable break on the Chemung that was very taut, and
Mhm.
it snapped and came around and took a guy's leg off, but other than that, nothing traumatic
Mm-hmm.
for us. Nothing ever happened to me, obviously.
Okay.
I mean, physically nothing happened. Mentally,
All right. Now, as you're getting to the end of your 4-year enlistment, do they
Mhm.
make any effort to get you to re-up?
oh sure.
Okay. What could they offer you?
Well, they didn't offer extra money like they do now.
Mm-hmm.
A guy can buy a new car now with his re-up pay. We got an offer, but it was like, I probably could have bought half a new car, like $600 or $700 or something like that, to re-enlist for 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
I considered going into underwater welding. I couldn't do that because I had 3 fillings, more than 3 fillings in my teeth.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a no-no, so I lost that bid. But I had decided that I would probably get out anyway, that I would do the 4 years, or 6 actually, because you're still obligated for 2 years.
Okay, so you have 2 years in inactive reserve?
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So when do you get back then to port, back to the States?
Probably a couple months before I got out.
Okay, so spring of '64 then?
Correct.
Okay.
We got back in, no, because I got married in '63. So we got back in late 63 or
Okay.
mid-summer 63.
Because you discharged in July of 64.
Yeah, I was released from active duty in
Right.
July, right.
So did you have then an extended period in San Diego, or was there
No,
another?
we had, I remember now, they wanted to rebuild the Chemung.
Mm-hmm.
So we went into dry dock. And of course that's draining all the tanks and everything. And so that's where the gap is there
Mm-hmm.
between the time we got back, and that was almost a year. It was over 9 months just to rebuild that ship.
Now, did you participate in that, or did
Oh
they
yeah.
do it? Okay.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we were just like part of the work crew. It wasn't all contract or civilian contract. They used us too. Well, because we had the same ability that
Sure.
most of the contractors had.
Yeah.
So-
You didn't have anything else to do, so.
That's right. Yeah, actually they took us off the 3-day rotation. That's the word I was looking for earlier.
Mhm.
And I think we were only supposed to stay on there 1 day a week instead of every third night. Yeah, after that, I got sent to Naval Station, Long Beach,
Mhm.
for a couple of weeks, and I got out in July of '64.
Now, when the ship was being overhauled, then did you get to live on shore because you were married? And
Well, yeah, as soon as I got married, I had an apartment on shore anyway. So some of the guys stayed on the ship, and I don't know how they could do it because the work went on 24 hours a day, or at least 20 hours a day, and there was a lot of noise and smoke from the welding, and there was no way I was going to do that anyway. But it was just like a regular job.
okay, all right. Then once you are released, then what do you do?
I looked for a job.
Okay.
And after a couple of weeks of trying to sell vacuum cleaners and a couple other funny jobs, I went to work for an aluminum sawing facility, or non-ferrous metals sawing facility in Gardena, California. Stayed in California, obviously. Worked there for about 3.5 years, and I kind of read the writing on the wall there that I wasn't going to be making any big money there. So I kind of took my Navy experience and went to a major refinery in Southern California for 22 years.
Okay. How'd you wind up in Michigan?
That's a good story. We lived in California from 1960 when I got there until 1989. In about 1983 or 84, I could kind of read the writing on the wall as far as how California was going politically and economically. And I thought, I think we ought to consider moving. So I started making some contacts out of state. We went to, I had a friend that came down and worked with me in the refinery in California for about 6 or 8 weeks. Worked with me on a job, and he said, maybe you ought to move to Washington State. He said, you don't like California anymore, maybe you ought to go up there. So we moved to Bellingham, Washington for 11 years, and loved it up there. Beautiful country. And in '99, all of our family is here. My wife's family is from Michigan. I'm from Pennsylvania. So we decided in '99 to move here. And in July of 2000, we packed a truck and came over here. And haven't regretted it. I was fortunate enough to be able to make enough money at the refinery and get good savings and good investments, and invested in real estate in California and sold it in the peak in 1988. And so we did well.
Okay.
Did well in Washington State because had a fairly high-paying job there, managing water and wastewater system, and that included everything. You know, not just managing a few people. It was the whole thing. And then in 2000, we decided to, or 99, I guess it was, we decided to move here. In July of 2000, we did because of family. We wanted to be close to family.
All right. Now, to look back in the time that you spent in the Navy, how do you think that wound up affecting you?
I think although I'm not disciplined still, I think it was more or less a discipline thing. Even though it wasn't that stringent a discipline in the Navy, including boot camp, it's still, you have a sense of right and wrong. This needs to be done. You really shouldn't do that. You know, you learn over a period of time, years, how to be careful. Not necessarily correct, but careful. And
Is it something that you do over again?
oh, sure.
Yeah.
Oh, piece of cake, yeah. Yeah, well, not now. Not at age
Oh, well,
69.
no.
I don't think I'd get through the first day of boot camp.
Is it something that you'd recommend to young people, people coming out of high school or college or whatever today?
Definitely. Any service. Not necessarily because your main purpose is to protect the United States, but for the discipline and for the learning. To learn what other people are like, what their likes and dislikes are, to learn more about somebody besides your own neighborhood. There's people from all over the world in our service, and you can learn an awful lot from people that are from other parts of the world or other parts of the United States. My greatest lesson is watching people and listening to people. And you got to make up your own mind what you're going to do with that information, but for the most part, if you're careful, you can be good person throughout your life simply by taking the attitude as I'm going to stay out of trouble and I'm going to work to better myself. And I'm still doing that.
Yeah.
At my age, I'm still doing that. I'm volunteering at Evergreen Commons, which is a large senior center in Holland, the Republican Party in Ottawa County, and the Ottawa County Patriots, Tea Party people. I'm busy.
Oh, yeah?
Evergreen tries to keep me busy 15 days a week.
That. Okay. Well, I'd just like to close this out by thanking you for taking the time and coming out and
Sure.
sharing your story with us.
Not a problem.
All right.
I never seen such desolation. I think we drove for a mile and there wasn't a building hardly standing.
Nobody knew what was going on. They called the situation fluid, but fluid means that nobody knew anything.
It was different. And if I had done something else, I don't know what I would have done.